How's it going, my fellow snail sufferers? It's that missile guy again. Today we're diving into what could potentially be the most game-changing missile if ever added to War Thunder, the R-37M. Previously, I've covered the AIM-174B and debated whether it could be too overpowered or actually fix War Thunder's meta. Today we're taking a similar deep dive into this Russian hypersonic capable beast and what it would mean for the game if added right now. Before we jump in, a quick disclaimer. Much of what I will be discussing is based on classified or limited information, so some details might be inaccurate. If you spot any mistakes, please drop them down in the comments. I'm always eager to learn and correct errors to make these videos as accurate as possible for you all. We'll be examining how this missile would impact War Thunder's current meta if introduced today. I'll present both sides fairly, how it could be balanced and how it might break the game. As always, if you enjoy this content, consider leaving a like, dropping a comment with future video ideas, or subscribing. We're closing in on 3K subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Everything will be timestamped below, so let's get started. So, what exactly is the R-37M? Known by its NATO reported name AA-13 this Russian air-launched hypersonic-capable weapon is designed for extreme beyond visual range engagements, weighing approximately 500 to 600 kilograms and armed with a 60-kilogram high-explosive warhead. It's specifically intended to eliminate large airborne assets like AWACS, fuel tankers, bombers, and high-altitude targets. What makes this missile truly terrifying is its performance characteristics, capable of reaching speeds between Mach 5 to 6, with an operational range that varies by source from 180 to 200 kilometers up to an astonishing 300 to 400 kilometers. This makes it one of the longest ranged air-to-air missiles currently in existence worldwide. For guidance, the R-37M is a Fox 3 active radar missile that combines inertial navigation systems like every other missile and data link guidance until terminal phase. It will follow a lofted trajectory profile, climbing to a high altitude before descending on its target, which conserves energy and extends its range. Similar profiles can be found on missiles like the AIM-54 Phoenix and the Fokker 90. So, which aircraft could carry this beast of a missile? There are actually more options than you might expect. While the primary carrier is the MiG-31 Foxhound, the R-37M can also be equipped on the Su-35 Flanker, the Su-30 SM-2, and the Su-57 Felon. Additionally, there are reports suggesting potential integration with the Indian Su-30 MKI export variant, known as the RVV-BD. There are also unconfirmed reports suggesting base Su-30 SM variants might be integrated for R-37M use during the conflict in Ukraine. However, I have no solid evidence for this, so take it with a grain of salt. Even if it's true, this particular model would likely never see it in game, so it really wouldn't matter anyways on the topic of this video. There are significant advantages to adding the R-37M to War Thunder. Currently, Russia's top-tier Fox 3 option is limited to the R-77-1. While this missile is extremely potent and effective across various ranges, it still falls short in several areas, as I discussed in this previous video here. The R-37M would provide Russia with a top-tier missile capable of striking at distances most War Thunder players might struggle to comprehend. However, this extreme range could actually be a detriment given how the game is currently modeled and how we're forced to play it. But that's a topic for our next section. The R-37 is proven valuable as both a strategic weapon and long-range standoff capability. We'll eventually see it in the game, but how would it affect gameplay? Comment below with your thoughts. Do you think it would be too overpowered, or could it be balanced if implemented correctly? When it comes to adding massive missiles like these to modern War Thunder, the biggest obstacle is map size. The current maps are simply too small for weapons like the AIM-174 or R-37. With the AIM-174, I could at least argue that its speed might make it somewhat more balanced, even though it's likely more maneuverable than the R-37. However, the R-37M is hypersonic capable. It would cover distances most players, again, can't comprehend in an incredibly short time. We absolutely need larger maps before this missile could be added. The second issue is multipathing. Given how effective multipathing is in-game, many of these missiles could simply be evaded by just flying low, which is unfortunately how most players operate. I should note that the R-37 does have a substantial warhead, so if splash damage is modeled properly, which I do doubt unfortunately, it might overcome this issue. However, if they implement this for the R-37, I'd hope to see similar improvements for other large missiles like the AIM-7, the AIM-54, and Fokker, etc. Finally, proper data link modeling is crucial. This missile absolutely needs accurate two-way data link implementation to reach its full effectiveness. Other aircrafts are meant to support its guidance. In the case of the Su-35, for example, an Su-35 launching an R-37M should be able to receive guidance support from a MiG-31 with its incredibly powerful Zastelon radar. Until you see proper data link modeling, the R-37M just won't reach its full potential in game. While preparing this video, I found myself wondering, could Gaijin actually add this missile? Is it possible within the game's limitations to implement a truly hypersonic weapon? Could they even model such a missile with the limited information available? I believe the bigger issue lies with netcode and game engine limitations. If you've ever seen players fly at incredible speeds in custom battles using speed boosts, you've probably noticed the game struggling to process the aircraft's position for everyone else. These speeds literally start breaking the game visually, which is quite apparent once you notice it. This suggests that significant engine upgrades would be needed to handle such a missile and its properties properly, and this goes for an overall upgrade to missiles in-game in general. As for the information problem, I think Gaijin would likely fabricate some stats. We've seen them do this before with other vehicles and weapons. They would probably take available public information and supplement it with values they deem appropriate. Would players like this approach? Probably not. Personally, I just want as much balance as possible in the game. While realism is important, it can only go so far before becoming dreadful to play. So, what are my final thoughts on this missile? I believe we will eventually see the addition of weapons like this, probably sooner than most realize. My hope is the same as for the AIM-174. It needs to be added when they have the appropriate counterparts available. The R-37M should debut alongside missiles like the PL-15, 17, the AIM-174, AIM-260s, and Meteors. This would ensure the most balanced playing field, with each missile having its strengths and weaknesses. This is super important keeping that balance I mentioned earlier, because while you can just have straight up realism, nobody wants to play a video game that's pure suffering, which War Thunder happens to be. Alright everyone, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed this topic or found it interesting, make sure to leave a comment below discussing your thoughts. Feel free to suggest another missile you'd like me to cover next. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. We're currently at 2,600 subscribers and closing in on that 3K milestone, which is absolutely insane. I'm also sorry for my voice in this video. I just now started recovering my voice from my sickness I had, and the intro was a bit rough, and I figured that I would just keep going with the video. I'm still not fully recovered, so if you notice that my voice is like a little bit off during this video, it's just because I was super sick. I don't even know what I had, but my entire throat just was in pain, and it was in pain to talk for an extended period of time, so I do apologize for that. As said, make sure to comment down below another missile you want to see. It can be literally anything. It can be from my obscure missile series, it can be another Fox story. I do have other plans of missiles to cover, so you know, we'll see what I write up and research next. But either way, until next time, of Hell Snail Suffers, I hope to see you all in the next video.